Have you ever pondered on what your plan of action would be in the event of a catastrophic pole shift? Picture this: the Earth's magnetic poles swapping places, turning our familiar blue planet into an alien landscape. It's a concept that seems straight out of science fiction, but it's a real phenomenon with real, potentially devastating effects on our climate, geography, and overall survival. Imagine the North Pole taking a vacation in the South, and vice versa. This isn't just a simple change of scenery. It can lead to drastic climate changes, geographical upheavals, and even mass extinctions. But before you start packing your bags for Mars, it's important to know that preparation is key. With the right knowledge and plan in place, survival isn't just a possibility, it's a probability. Today we will explore the 7 steps to safe locations determination, a guide to help you prepare for such a catastrophic event. The first step involves researching safe location information. The importance of this task cannot be overstated. You are laying the groundwork for your survival strategy. This research is not just about finding a place that's far from the city or has a pleasant climate. It's about understanding the geology, geography, and history of potential safe zones. Geological studies are a goldmine of information. They can reveal the stability of the land, potential earthquake zones, and areas prone to landslides. Historical data can offer insights into past natural disasters and how areas have reacted to them. This can help you anticipate future risks. But don't stop there, seek expert advice. There are people who have dedicated their lives to understanding these phenomena. Their knowledge and experience can be a guiding light in your quest for a safe location. You can reach out to them through forums, social media, and even academic platforms. Remember, knowledge is power, especially when it comes to survival. The second step is to consider potential climate changes. Picture this: a pole shift event could drastically alter the Earth's climate. It's like shaking a snow globe. Everything gets tossed around and settles in a whole new pattern. And it's this new climate pattern we need to consider. Think about how the shift might affect temperatures, rainfall, and wind patterns. Will your chosen location become a desert, a swamp, or perhaps a new ice age tundra? The shift could also lead to a change in sea levels, affecting coastal areas. It's not just about surviving the initial event, but also about the long-term sustainability of your location. You'll need access to fresh water, arable land, and a climate that supports the growth of food crops. We're not trying to scare you, but to prepare you. These potential changes are not to be taken lightly, but with careful consideration, you can find a location that not only weathers the pole shift, but also provides a sustainable environment in the aftermath. Choosing a location with a favorable post-shift climate can greatly increase your chances of survival. The third step involves determining the elevation of your chosen location above sea level. This is crucial because, following a pole shift, sea levels can drastically rise, posing a potential risk to low-lying areas. You wouldn't want to be caught off guard, would you? Now, you might be wondering why elevation is so important. Well, it's simple. Water seeks its own level. In the event of a pole shift, melting ice caps could cause sea levels to rise dramatically. If your location is not elevated enough, it could be submerged. Imagine waking up to an ocean view where there used to be your front yard. So how can you find out the elevation of your location? There are various resources online that can help you determine this. For instance, topographic maps can give you a clear picture of the elevation of different areas. These maps use contour lines to represent elevation levels, with each line indicating a specific elevation above sea level. Remember, when choosing a location, don't just consider the beauty or convenience of the place. The safety and sustainability of the location should be your top priorities. After all, your survival could depend on it. Elevation is key. It can be the difference between staying dry or being underwater. The fourth step is to identify regions that will rise or fall. This can seem a bit daunting, but remember, knowledge is power. During a pole shift, the Earth's crust can move dramatically. This could lead to some areas of land rising above current sea levels while others may fall. Think of it like a giant jigsaw puzzle. When one piece moves, it affects all the surrounding pieces. The same theory applies to our Earth's crust. If one tectonic plate shifts, it can cause a ripple effect, causing land to rise or fall in areas far from the initial shift. Understanding these potential geological changes is crucial. It's not just about finding a location that's safe now, but one that will remain safe in the future. Will that idyllic coastal spot remain above water? Could that mountain retreat become a new beachfront property? By considering these possibilities, you're not only planning for survival but also for a sustainable future. Anticipating geographical changes can help you stay one step ahead of the game. The fifth step involves assessing the risk of river flooding. In the aftermath of a pole shift, the landscape can change dramatically, often leading to increased river flooding. Rivers can overflow their banks, causing widespread devastation. This is something we can't ignore when choosing a safe location. The importance of this assessment lies in its potential to impact our long-term survival. Flooding can wash away homes, ruin crops, and contaminate water supplies, leaving us vulnerable and exposed. It's not just about immediate survival, but also about building a sustainable life in the wake of such a monumental event. We also need to consider the unpredictability of water flow after a pole shift. Rivers may not follow their usual paths, creating new waterways and altering the flood risk of an area. This unpredictability makes it all the more necessary to consider river flooding when choosing our locations. So, what's the takeaway? When planning for a pole shift, we need to be mindful of the potential for river flooding. We need to choose locations that are not prone to floods and have a higher chance of staying dry. Avoiding flood-prone areas can help ensure your long-term survival. The sixth step involves evaluating volcanic and other geographic hazards. Diving right in, let's talk about volcanoes. When you think of a pole shift, volcanoes might not be the first thing that pops into your mind. However, the shifting of the Earth's crust could potentially trigger increased volcanic activity. This is because the movement can lead to changes in pressure and temperature within the Earth, causing the molten rock or magma to rise and erupt. Now you might be thinking, I'll just stay away from known volcanic areas then. But it's not that simple. There are many dormant volcanoes around the world that could potentially become active following a pole shift. So it's not enough to avoid areas with current volcanic activity. You have to consider areas with a history of volcanic activity as well. Aside from volcanoes, there are other geographic hazards to consider too. Landslides, for example, can be triggered by the same crustal movements that cause volcanic eruptions. They can also occur in hilly or mountainous areas after heavy rains, so it's important to consider the local climate and topography. Earthquakes are another potential hazard. They can occur anywhere, but are most common along tectonic plate boundaries. The shifting of the Earth's crust can cause these plates to move, leading to earthquakes. So areas near these boundaries could be at a higher risk. And let's not forget about tsunamis. These are large ocean waves caused by undersea earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, or landslides. Coastal areas, especially those near tectonic plate boundaries, are most at risk. So when choosing your location, it's vital to take all these potential hazards into account. Research the area's geological history, consider its topography and proximity to plate boundaries, and evaluate the likelihood of each type of hazard. This might seem like a daunting task, but remember, knowledge is power. The more you know about your potential safe location, the better prepared you'll be. Living in a hazard-free area can be the key to your survival. The final step involves planning potential migration routes. This is not just about pointing your finger on the map and saying that's where we'll go. It's about creating a detailed, thought-out plan that will guide you to your chosen location safely and efficiently. You see, when a pole shift event occurs, the usual routes may no longer be viable. Roads may be blocked or destroyed, bridges might be down, and the terrain can change dramatically. So it's vital to have more than one route mapped out. Think of it like a tree with many branches. If one branch is blocked, you have other branches to choose from. Now let's talk about modes of transport. In a catastrophic event, your regular car might not cut it. We need to consider all possible modes of transportation. Walking, biking, boating, even horseback riding could be potential options. Each mode of transport has its advantages and challenges, and your choice will depend on the terrain, distance, and resources available. Next, consider the resources along your route. Are there places to find food and water? Are there potential hazards you need to avoid? Remember, it's not just about getting from point A to point B. It's about surviving the journey. Now, this might seem overwhelming, and it's okay to feel that way. But remember, the key is preparation. Take your time and research each route carefully. Consult maps, use online resources, and if possible, physically explore the routes beforehand. The more familiar you are with your routes, the better your chances of reaching your destination. And finally, always keep your plan flexible. Conditions can change rapidly in a crisis, and your plan needs to be adaptable. If one route becomes impassable, be prepared to switch to your alternate route. Having a well-planned route can be your lifeline in a crisis. Let's recap the 7 steps to safe locations determination. We began by researching safe location information, which is crucial in identifying potential safe havens during a pole shift. Then, we considered climate changes that could occur due to the pole shift, and how they might affect our chosen locations. Our third step was determining the elevation above sea level of our potential safe locations, as areas that are too low could be at risk of flooding. Then we identified regions that would rise or fall due to the pole shift, as these changes could drastically alter the landscape and safety of an area. In the fifth step, we assessed the risk of river flooding, which can cause significant and sudden damage. Then, we evaluated volcanic and geographic hazards, as these can also pose serious threats during and after a pole shift. Finally, we planned migration routes to reach our safe locations. This step involves considering multiple routes and transportation methods to ensure we can reach safety in the event of a catastrophic pole shift. Remember, preparation is the key to survival. Stay safe, stay prepared.